Time.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Family Time on Love 101 FM. You can also join us on Facebook and YouTube Live. Family Time is about your issues and your relationships. It's about your home family, your community family, and your global family. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. So stay with us and please connect with us via all our platforms. You can friend us on Facebook at FLM-Family Life Ministries, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries-FLMJA, and you can connect with us on Instagram. Keep up with what's happening at FLMJA. Now, while Family Time is a family program, we'd like to caution that it may, on the odd occasion, touch on what some may consider mature subject matter. So we encourage you, please, to exercise discretion while listening to this dialogue. All right? I'm Roland Gale. And the truth is, there isn't anything our guest won't talk about, the guest that we're going to talk with today. And like most politicians and pastors, him have enough to say. Well, we're going to try and rein him in a bit, and we're going to get a lot of insightful conversation out of him. And because of that, I anticipate a very interesting show today. Most of you already know who we are talking about. It's the Reverend Mike Aiken, and he's going to be talking about living with sickle cell. But before we put him on the hot seat, here's what we want you to do for us today. Tell us how the sickle cell illness has affected you and your family. Send us messages via WhatsApp. You can text it or you can send a voice note. Make sure the voice note is no longer than 30 seconds. And for that, you use 997-3125. 997-3125. Or you can call the studio lines at 968-8327 or 968-8328 and participate that way. You can also watch us and comment live on our Love 101 Facebook page or on our Love YouTube channel. We're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere. And our special guest will be here, Reverend Mike Aiken. See you on the other side.
Coming up on the next Campus Connection, we will be focusing on the robotics trend. Robotics provides the problem-solving skills that Jamaica needs to boost productivity and economic growth. Robotics education can be applied in the agriculture, manufacturing, shipping, pharmaceutical, food packaging, and welding industries in the short term. Is it possible for students to excel in robotics as they do in other areas? You are invited to join the conversation with Mr. Tyler Guy, Miss Princess Hall, and Mr. Damian Smith from the Ainswood High School's Alpha Tech Robotics Club, and creative blog guest Miss Levia Campbell from the Michael University College. This all happens on Tuesday, March 19 at 5:30 p.m. on the family station Love 101.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101 FM. And a big welcome to Reverend Mike Aiken. Michael is a transformational and purpose-driven leader. He's a minister of religion, a communication specialist, an educator, a counselor, a life coach, a sickler, a husband, a surrogate father to many, including some of those wayward and disadvantaged young male and female people, people all over Jamaica. And he has helped to develop and transform a number of lives, a lot of lives. I want to say, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, my brother. Giving God thanks for another day. Another day on the
Absolutely.
planet means purpose is
Absolutely.
yet to be accomplished fully.
There we go. And we know that we are working to do that. But it's good to have you, sir. And
Well, I tell
our
you, say a prayer
topic,
for me from the get-go, because would you believe, here you are, you're going to interview me about sickle cell anemia, and I've been struggling for the past 24 hours or so with some joint pains in my left shoulder. I guess Daddy just wanted me to be cognizant of what's going on, the realities of this disease, and others out there who suffer terribly with it. So say a prayer in your heart for me, even as we conduct this interview.
I certainly am. Well, I'm glad you started with that, sir, because it tells us, the listeners, it tells me that this thing is a real and present issue.
Yeah.
It is not something that is separated from us by any distance or any time. Because the fact
No.
that you have it operating with you right now, I would love to ask you, how does that make you feel and how did it impact the last 24 hours?
Well, two things. First of all, the anemic side of it, because it's called sickle cell anemia. So there is
Yeah.
a weakness that you'll feel. You have to fight with that. And of course, um, I use nutrition to attempt to push myself even more when I'm in a situation like this. And then the pain, if the pain gets too bad, you manage it with painkillers. Again, I try to stay away from that because painkillers and your kidneys don't work very well, you know. So, yeah. So even for those who love to pop an ibuprofen or aspirin, it's not really good for your designed system. So I go, Brother Rolo, with natural ingredients. For example, this morning I've already ingested so much moringa, right, that I
Mhm.
might start sprouting leaves up in my ear.
Leaves, leaves.
But it's part
Oh,
of the management of life, man. I mean, you know, I mean, that's
right.
how God designed us, with frailties, with strengths, and we have to manage it.
And it is all for his glory.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. I like how you spoke about the use of natural remedies, food as our medicine. And I wanted to ask you if that would have had anything to do with your upbringing with your parents. Would they have taught you that, or how did you get about thinking along those lines?
Well, to some extent, yes, because I had the blessing of growing with two powerful people of God. My father, both father and mother were pastors, of course, and my father was a very stern disciplinarian type person, but who knew how to balance love with stern discipline. And he, from early on, both parents really pushed me in the direction of always searching, looking, finding, not just with spiritual things, but also information to help self. So I was always an inquirer, a seeker. So that's the foundation they gave me. And of course, when I sickle cell, as you may know, is a genetic disorder. In other words, I was born with it. So quite early on, when I was about 2 or 3, it was discovered because I went into a crisis, and there's a process after that with the hospitals here in Jamaica that led to the discovery. But in terms of finding ways to manage the disease, it really was a teacher at high school who pushed me in that direction, because I couldn't, throughout primary school, prep school, early high school up to third form, that's grade what, 9 or so, I
Yeah.
was not allowed to take PE because there was a letter on my file that prohibited me from taking PE. So all these years, never did anything physical, wasn't allowed to run to catch a bus, because all those exhausting efforts can lead to a crisis. That's how debilitating it is. Uh, and my heart goes out even now for children in Jamaica who have it, and you can't, you bus come in, your friends run, after it, you can't do the same thing. Because if you do, you may go into a crisis. So here I was at high school in ninth grade, and the teacher, the PE teacher, an expatriate from Britain, came to me and said, I noticed you're not in my PE class. Why not? I said, oh, I have sickle cell anemia, sir. He says, do you want to do PE? I said, sir, I have sickle cell anemia. He says, yes, but I'm asking you, do you want to do PE? Sir, there is a letter on my file in the principal's office. I have sickle cell anemia.
Why you never answer the man question?
Because by that, at that time, I had embraced
That's
my
a
faith,
very good
so
point.
to speak.
Yes,
Embrace my
you
faith.
had owned it. You had kind of
Yeah,
owned
man.
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So he insisted, do you want to do it? I said, yes, sir, I would. He said, bring your PE clothes next class. And I did. He sat the whole class down, explained to them what sickle cell anemia was, then let them know I would not be able to do as they did with all the tasks that he would have given. He said, for example, we're going to go around the track. It's 400 meters. Michael may not be able to do it. Anybody who laughs will be punished. And he set us all off, and he ran beside me. I remember to this day, Rolo, I got to 10 meters maybe. And I started feeling as if I'm going to get sick. And he said, it's okay. Just stop, walk, breathe deep. He says, that's excellent. You got to 10 meters. Next P class, we're going for 11. And that's how he pushed me until I was able to do 400 meters without stopping. Later on, a few weeks later, he came with some yellow tablets and said, start taking these every day. I said, sir, what are these? It's folic acid. Now, by this time, you know, I have been to doctors and I hadn't gotten that as yet. That PE teacher was the first person to give me folic acid, which is a derivative of the vitamin B complex vitamins that is efficacious for sickle cell anemia. Of course, pregnant women are also asked to take it. It seems to do well with the way God designed us. So what he did for me was make me stop owning the disease and start searching for ways to conquer it.
a question for you.
And that's the
when
journey that he started.
When he said to you, next PE class, bring your PE gear, did you go home and talk to your parents?
No, sir, I couldn't do that. They owned it more than me. My mom,
Wow.
bless her heart, I mean, she just passed away now. But of course, the concern was always there because I remember going to the doctor. Now, remember, they discovered that I had this genetic disorder from I was about 3 years old. Again, vivid memory. Boston Beach, playing with the child of a tourist, and he buried me in the sand. The next thing I know, I'm in hospital, you know, because I went into a crisis because of the cold of the sand and so on, and the exertion. And the process began where eventually they discovered that it was sickle cell anemia.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, by third form now, you know, my mom and dad are used to having this very sickly child and hearing from the doctors. I remember sitting and hearing, Roland, a doctor telling my mom, well, he has made it to 12 years old, but don't expect him to get to 14. So prepare yourself for his passing. When I get to 14, well, he made it to 14, but he may not make it to 16. So prepare yourself. So they had owned it themselves. But when this angel from God, let me term him like that, because he really opened my eyes to understand it's time to fight. And it came at a critical time.
Wow.
Because I tell you, at that age, I had become so frustrated with the misunderstandings that sickle cell brings. For example, if you break your hand and come into studio, everybody around you goes, oh, Roland, oh, something's wrong with you. Oh, hey, give my chair to sit on or something. A sickle cell patient will have a crisis, and because there's no physical effect, there is no sympathy or empathy that goes along with it. So they're left to fight through without the assistance that can help you to battle any kind of injury or pain. So there's that psychological part of it that is very devastating,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't show up as a broken hand, even though, Roland, pain is worse than a broken hand. I broke my leg and didn't go to the doctor for another 4 days. And again, I remember the doctor saying to my mom, oh man, his pain threshold is so high because
Yeah.
for him to be walking around on this, So I say all of that to say that it's important for parents of sickle cell warriors. And by the way, let me correct you real quick. They used to call us sicklers when I was, your young age. They now call us sickle cell warriors. A good change, I think. Good change.
I
Because it,
will remember that, sir. And apologies. I will
no,
remember that.
no problem at all. So we're no longer termed sicklers, but sickle cell warriors. And any listener listening right now who has sickle cell or is a parent of a sickle cell person is a warrior there. Help
Is a
him or her
warrior.
fight the disease. Fight it.
Is a warrior.
Is victory
Absolutely.
available over the disease. And we'll talk about that some more in a moment.
Absolutely. We're going to go for a quick break, sir. And I want to ask our listeners, our viewers, to remember to share with us how the sickle cell sickness has affected you and your family. If you are a sickle cell warrior, I want to hear from you today. We're looking forward to what you have to say. So send us your WhatsApp text or voice notes, and you can comment live on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. All right? We're going to be right back. It's about 5:47 p.m. See you on the other side.
Get ready for an electrifying and soul-stirring experience. Sound Entertainment presents Jerusalem on Saturday, March 30 at 6 p.m. at the Ligony Club. Come see African gospel sensation Victor Thompson, along with Rhoda Isabella, Rondell Positive, Jody and Morgan, Island Kings, and Perpetual Praise. Tickets cost $5,000 general, $10,000 VIP, and children under 12, $1,500. Get your tickets now at AITix.com. That's AITIX.com. And Fontana Pharmacies Island-wide. Grab family, friend, even a neighbor, and witness the stage come alive. It's Jerusalem, sponsored by Love 101, Joseph J.A., Gospel J.A., Adams Decor, at Boobies Energy J.A.
Sometimes all we need is a listening ear. The listening ear, the counseling, the logical reasoning, and spiritual guidance on what appealed to us. That's why I'm here. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, the counselor, your counselor on Love 101 FM, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. You know you can call on me. I will listen and more. So let's talk about what's bothering you. Anything. Tune in, listen, call in, text or voice message. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, counseling psychologist, ready with a listening ear. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Right here on the family station, Love 101 FM.
Female soldiers in the Army of the Lord. It's that time of year again when Celebration Church presents Sold Out Women's Conference titled Militant. March 23 and 24 from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Lot 1E Portmore Skating Rink behind the Portmore Mall. Call 876-648-3381 or 876-467-1527 for details. Ladies, wear your army fatigue for prizes and surprises. Refreshments on sale. That Sold Out Women's Conference, Militant. You don't want to miss this.
Tan, look here. Close your eyes and touch anywhere on the map of Jamaica.
Okay.
With unlimited flow data for navigation apps, we can go anywhere we want to and have more data to do anything we need to.
You've arrived at your destination.
Now, Flow's unlimited social and talk prepaid plans come with unlimited data for Waze and Google Maps, plus more TikTok data and any use data. Get a 7-day Flow prepaid plan for only $950. Get your plan today. Download the Top Up Flow app. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to our discussion with Reverend Mike, and we are talking about living with sickle cell anemia. And remember, we want to ask you, our listeners, our viewers, to tell us how the sickle cell illness has affected you and your family. All right? Now, sickle cell anemia, so far as I know, is incurable. So the current approach to treatment is to try and relieve pain and to help prevent complications of the disease. Now, it's something that most people just have to live with. But I'm going to ask our guest, Reverend Mike, to come in now and to give us a little greater understanding on what sickle cell anemia is and what it is like to live with it 24 hours a day.
Well, first of all, it's a genetic disorder that affects the red blood cells in terms of their ability to flow freely through your veins and arteries, and in particular, the microscopic arteries called capillaries. Those are the veins and arteries that feed your joints and your internal organs, the ones that you can't really see with your eyes. Now, a sickle cell crisis takes place when the red blood cell goes into mostly a sickle shape, which is why they call it sickle cell, and it blocks the capillary. And as a result of blocking the capillary, it causes a kind of dam result, blood piling up behind, swelling the capillary, and that's what causes the pain. But the fact that the red blood
Stop. That sounds unbelievable. Isn't that stopping the blood from pumping?
Yes, well, it doesn't stop it from pumping, so to speak, but that area in particular is stopped from getting the nutrition that it needs to operate properly.
Oh, man.
Which is why, for example, I'm having some joint discomfort right now in my left joint.
Right.
Perhaps because of the years of having a crisis in that area. And sometimes it just decides that I'm going to bother him. Now, the part that you may have missed there, Roland, is the fact that the red blood cells, God designed them to take oxygen and iron to your body. That gives you energy. That gives you the ability really to live. Okay? Now, when it sickles, it really is useless. Which is why a sickler will feel great weakness, because there's not enough oxygen and iron feeding their muscles. Now, it can become fatal when the capillaries that are blocked surround internal organs. For the most part, once it's a joint crisis, then good pain management can really help. Now, believe me, the pain is unimaginable. But they've got some good things out there, Beralgin and morphine and other things that help with the pain management. But once the crisis is around an internal organ, the internal organ will want to shut down because it's not being properly fed. So if the crisis is happening around your kidneys shut down on you, your lungs shut down, your whatever the organ may be. And that is when it can become a fatal matter. And as you know, here in Jamaica, a few persons have passed away from sickle cell anemia. And then, of course, there are ripple effects to that, because as a result, our system tends to be a bit weaker. We catch cold and flu and pneumonia easier, and whenever I go through any physical stress, and a mom or dad will realize if the child is going through some type of, you have 4 children, everybody catch the flu, but your sickle cell child also gets a sickle cell crisis because of the stress it places on his body or her body. Because in effect, anything that makes Roland stress, particularly in terms of oxygen. So you walk quickly up the stairs at Love FM and it makes you a bit breathless. That can cause a crisis in a sickle cell warrior. You take an airplane to go to New York and you fly in the cabin for a few hours. The altitude in the cabin is the equivalent of about 9,000 feet in the mountains. That's like going to the Blue Mountains for 3 hours. That makes you feel weak when you get off the plane as a normal human being. For a sickle cell warrior, that can push us into a crisis. Now, I share all that with you because it's important for our listeners to know how to help, especially the little ones, manage that and how to look out for them. Hydration and proper nutrition then becomes important. Again, here's another angel that God provided for some direction. When I was at Edna Manley, Rastaman came to me and said, if this is a blood disorder, because I'd been sick a few times, and of course my colleagues were worrying, and this Rasta friend came and said, you need to pay more attention to your diet then. If I've read the thing, Mike, you need oxygen and iron in excess in your blood, so you need to stop eating the foolish stuff that your other fellow students are eating and get to your callaloo and banana and your natural nutrition. And again, he began to push me in that direction. And as a result, I did the research necessary and sometimes experimented on my own self and came up with a regimen of food and supplementation that worked so well that by the time God opened doors for me to be in university abroad and access healthcare abroad, I remember going to Massachusetts General Hospital and the doctor looking at me and saying, we've got to run tests again because you can't have sickle cell anemia and look so healthy. And when their US tests came back, he said, well, you need to sit down and write out all the things that you take. What is it? And by this time, I had a heavy regimen of course, heavy hydration. By midday, I've gone through a gallon of juice or water. By midday. So hydration is important for any parent listening or sickle cell warrior. Vitamin B complex, vitamin C and E, I take in heavy doses. Now, let me tell you why I mentioned that. Now, I remember I went to the gym and hurt myself. I got a hernia. So I rushed to the hospital and he said, the doctor that was managing me at that time said, no problem. We'll do quick surgery, but we have to put it off for 2 weeks. I said, Doc, I can't go to school with this bulge in my stomach. He said, you're going to have to, because I have to take you off of the heavy nutrition that you're on. I said, why is that? He says, well, Mike, for example, your heavy doses of vitamin C and vitamin E combined, they actually help thin your blood. And as a result, I have to stop you from taking that so I can control the bleeding. If there's any bleeding when I did the surgery for your hernia. Now, I'll tell you that story because, of course, the viscosity of blood is important for sickle cell anemia person, the health of the red blood cells. So, Mom, Dad, do your research and find out the kind of nutrition and supplementation that will help them to really live a healthy life.
Absolutely,
go ahead. I saw you,
sir. Yes, absolutely. So we are up on another break again, and this is amazing information for me. I actually worked with a sickle cell warrior, and I am going to admit to Jamaica and to those listening that I was not sympathetic or empathetic at all at the time. And the comment you made earlier about it not being a visible illness, where it's not like somebody comes in with a cast on their leg or somebody comes in with a patch over their eye. It's not like that. And the truth is, we need to understand this more to be able to help and to be able to reach out to those who are suffering from it. We're going to go for a break. This is Family Time on Love 101 FM, and it's produced by Family Life Ministries. And for our social media interaction, we want you to share with us how the sickle cell sickness has affected you and your family. All right. Send us comments on YouTube or on Facebook, or you can call the studio lines at 968-8327 or 968-8328 and participate with us that way. We want to hear from you. This evening, our topic is Reverend Mike and living with sickle cell. It's break time. Don't go anywhere.
Listen to words of upliftment in Something More with Bishop Harold Blair, brought to you by the Faith Cathedral Deliverance Center.
And he cried out to God. Have you been there? Have you been there when it seems as if you've been left all alone and no one cares for you? No one gives to you a word of comfort or consolation. But as you lift up your eyes to the hills from Whence cometh your help? The Lord heard your cry.
That's Something More with Bishop Harold Blair. Something More comes to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9:30 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
It's not over till it's over. It ain't over yet. Oh, it's not over.
Dreaming of a great career or degree? The Caribbean Examinations Council offers regionally and internationally recognized qualifications to help you get there. These include the Caribbean Certificate of Secondary Level Competence, CCSLC, the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, CSEC, the Caribbean Vocational Qualification, CVQ, Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination, CAPE, and the CXC Associate Degree. These exams may be done while in school or out of school at private learning institutions. Visit cxc.org to learn more. With CXC, you're in control.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Family Time, and it's about 1 minute past 6 in the evening, and it is good that you have continued to listen and to stay with us. We are so glad you are with us. You're tuned to Love 101 FM, and this is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries. Now, FLM, Family Life Ministries, provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Our discussion this evening is with Reverend Mike, and we're talking about living with sickle cell. If you were listening to us earlier on in the conversation, you would have heard how devastating this illness can be, and you would have heard the kind of impact that it has on lives, parents, children, siblings. But one of the things we know is that God is able, and our friend Reverend Michael Aiken is more than just one thing. He is a husband, he is a politician, he is a pastor, he is a teacher, educator, he is a friend to many. And I want to ask him some other questions, because sickle cell doesn't define him. I don't believe it defines him at all. And so I want to ask him, what's your mode of thinking? What has carried you so far?
Well, before I jump to answer that question, let me real quickly, maybe direct any of your listeners who may not already know that there is a sickle cell unit at UWI that you can turn to from time to time. And I'd encourage, especially if you have very, very young children, register them at the clinic. I think it is still, what's her name again? Dr. Monica Asnani. That's the head of the sickle cell unit. Now, in my young years, I walked away from the sickle cell unit because at the time, the management was too depressing. It's as if they were simply holding you until death grabbed you. But there's definitely a change in the way the sickle cell unit now looks at managing the disease. And that as a result, of course, I would recommend to anybody to use that also, besides the self-management strategies and techniques we just spoke about. Turn to the sickle cell clinic and see if they can help you become a victor over this devastating disease. It doesn't have to rule you. You don't have to own it. And God will give you victory over it, even as I and others can testify. Now, your question was? What was your question?
What is your frame of mind? What's your mode of thinking as you go through life?
Well, as it pertains in particular to sickle cell or just in general?
Just in general, because I don't think sickle cell defines you. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Although I tell you, a helpful verse for me, because I struggled with, how can I say this without frightening some of your viewers? Roland, this is a disease that can push you to think suicide thoughts. I've been there many times, right? Where if you were in the room and handed me your legal firearm, I would have used it. But thanks be to God, there is a God you can call on, right? And I used to really, in my teenage years, cry out to God saying, why me? Why did you do this to me? Why would you create me like this? And I don't know if you know that verse where the Apostle Paul says, he ends by saying, most gladly, therefore, will I glory in my infirmities, so that the
Yes.
power of Christ may rest on me. He was in some position where he cried out to God, saying, take this from me, man, whatever his case was. I don't know what it was. But for me, it was sickle cell anemia. And I know I communed with my Creator directly to the point where that for me was the spiritual enhancement that God used, along with the gentleman that I told you about who helped me to gain information on the disease. So once again, for any of your listeners, any sickle cell warrior, turn to the God who created you. Don't be afraid to cry out to him in prayer, to look into his word and find strength like I did. It really helps. By the way, Roland, there is data right now, I see, available with those who are medical practitioners, that prayer does work. So let's not think
Absolutely.
that this is just a
Absolutely. Don't discount it at
part of our
all.
human design.
Yes,
So
yes,
help
yes.
your child, pray to God about the
Yes.
pain they're feeling, and trust God to relieve it in the same way that you'll trust Baralgin and morphine. Okay.
Absolutely. And
So-
what I want to do, sir, is you have encouraged a particular listener, and her name is Keisha Pitter. And I just want to read a comment that she has shared with us. She says, my name is Keisha Pitter, and I'm a sickle cell warrior, and doctors deemed me dead by 20, but I'm now 30 years old. I have sickle cell full blown, and I know what pain is, but I don't let it define me. I'm here listening, and I am very encouraged.
Excellent.
She says, we are not defined by our diagnosis.
No.
God defines us.
No.
Man, I tell you,
Excellent.
oh,
Wow.
that is excellent.
Wow.
That is excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Keisha. Thank you for that.
Keep the fight going, Keisha.
And Tifa Brown says, good evening. My daughter has it. So I am dealing with it now for 21 years.
Wow.
So we can be encouraged. Rev, I know you are a very young man, but would you mind telling us how long you have been dealing with sickle cell anemia?
From birth, my brother.
Yes, and how many years is that?
Well, let me tell you how many. So much so that I was complaining to a cousin of mine abroad when I was in the middle of a crisis, saying, really pray for me, man, because I sometimes, even at this age now, I still quarreling with my Father in heaven, saying, seriously, Daddy, why?
After all
Why
these
would
years?
you do this? And my cousin replied, okay, before I pray with you, here's what I want you to do for me. Think about all the rest of our family members and close friends who had sickle cell anemia, and tell me where they are right now. No, they'd all died, right? That's the point he was making. They'd all died already.
Wow.
And I had remained alive. So he said, Mike, let's concentrate on thanking God for that and the purpose he has behind that, instead of moaning and complaining about the debilitating disease you have and how it's shaking you up. So anyway, I know that didn't give you a chronological age. All right. But
No, but you know what? Before I started the program, right, I had looked up some stuff, and one of the things I had found was a passage in Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 14. And it says, heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved. And then at the end of that verse, it says, for you are my praise. For you are my praise. What your friend was telling you there about praising the Lord,
yeah,
is an amazing insight, is an amazing way to go through.
Admittedly,
and to
very
deal with
difficult,
stuff.
though, let's be real here.
No, it's not easy about
very
it.
difficult.
Nothing easy.
Because, my brother, let me tell you, you cannot imagine the pain. Keisha can, because she's a warrior.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it is unimaginable. Unimaginable.
And
As
I
I
don't think
said
any
in
of us
my
want to
case,
feel it.
I broke a limb and paid no attention to it because
You did feel worse than that already.
No. So that's the bar that I use to help people. When somebody asks me, how bad is the pain? Well, I broke my leg and I didn't even pay attention to it. So understand the level of the pain. So it's, while we encourage those who have been gifted the disease by God, let's still remain in empathy that it really is a difficult struggle, very, very difficult struggle. And whatever you can do to help to alleviate pain. And of course, by the way, warmth is especially important, Rolo. Once December, January, February, March comes, I know I have to work harder, fight harder, because the cold somehow aggravates the disease. Although I'm told it's not in every sickle cell warrior that may be the case. But I know at the sickle cell clinic in particular, they emphasize warmth and rest as part of the disease. So be mindful of that, parents, especially of, my heart goes out to the very small ones in our Rolo. I don't know how I survived the early years, at age 3, 4, 5, 6. I remember being in pain when I had to take common entrance, and that should give you a fairly good idea of what age.
Well, I took common entrance too, I took common entrance.
Yes, that's why I said it should give you a good idea of what age group I'm in, because I didn't say GSAT or PEP.
No.
Right. And on the day of the common entrance, I woke up with a crisis. So of course, the principal came to me and said, well, stay in your bed. You can't go. I said, no, you have to take me. Because if I don't pass common entrance, I don't see any life ahead of me. Remember the days when if you failed common entrance, it would put you at a lower level institution. And for us rural people, that's not a good thing.
No,
so they actually took me on a bed, like the Bible talks about them taking that man on a pallet to Jesus. They took me on a bed to the examination house, propped me up in a chair. I took the exam as quickly as I could and then they would shift me off to go lie down until the other students were finished, and then repeat that process. So when I passed common entrance, Vaz Preparatory School had a praise day.
Yes.
Because nobody thought I would have made it through. So again, I tell you that long story because there is hope. I mean, imagine the adversary would so try to
derail.
throw me. Yes, the day of common entrance.
Yeah.
And you should be old enough or young enough to know. Common entrance days is not like PEP days. PEP days, you go to whatever school you can get to. Common entrance, if you did not pass the bar, you're gone to what they call it again, secondary school and all age school.
All age, I think, is where you would normally have gone.
Yeah, man. Probably. And for many of us, that was not a good thing at the time.
Yeah. All right. So, Rev, we were talking about you being a politician. How does a Christian and a warrior function as a politician? We don't have much time. We don't have a lot of time.
No, man. That's just another open door that God gives you to help people. When we say politician, people, of course, have a negative concept of that because of how that particular profession has lived their lives for the past few years. Same thing with lawyers. But I would encourage anybody, of course, to get involved in the political life of your country. Persons have died because of that. And you need to honor that at least, especially ladies. Ladies, just the other day could have voted. So please get involved in the political life. And to answer the question as to how it works with being a pastor, you have to stand by your values, Rollo. Mm-hmm. Now, many Christians are involved in politics, I found that out because when I was pulled into the arena, the first thing I did was do research to find out how many family members I had there. I had no idea at the time because I just returned from the USA with a graduate degree in public policy, public administration, and government. And I was pulled into the arena right away. And I was surprised at the amount of Christians, and even more surprised when I realized that they had given up on the Christian values and lifestyle that they should live. So they were participating in the open corruption. They're participating in the systemic issues that we know is not exalting this nation because it's not righteous. Instead, it is sin that is causing us great reproach. And, in the same way, I encourage persons to jump in. If you get a chance to be a counselor in your area, wherever you live, Roland, do it. If you get a chance to run for MP, if them call you after this program and say, Roland, could you please represent constituency A? Do it. We need people who are seeking after God, following God, willing to stand up for righteousness and justice and willing to be fair and honest. Otherwise, our future, I don't want to say it like that, the future dark. If not, you don't. If you knew half of what I knew right now regarding politics, you would not be at Love FM. You'd be in Miami or New York.
I hear you, sir. Okay, we're going to head into our final break. And this is family time, and we are live on Love 101 FM with Reverend Mike. And this has been such an interesting conversation. We want you we want to hear from you. Tell us how the sickle cell sickness has affected you and your family. Let us know via WhatsApp or call the studio lines. We're going to be right back. It's about 16 minutes past 6.
Every Thursday morning, Love 101 shares with you power-packed messages, words of encouragement, and testimonies of God's miraculous power. You get all of that in the Don't Give Up broadcast, brought to you by Celebration Church at the Portmore Skating Rink in the Portland Mall with Pastor Prophet Michael Carter. Be sure to stay tuned to Love 101 for the Don't Give Up broadcast. Get the word you need to start your day right. The Don't Give Up broadcast, Thursdays at 5:15 a.m. on the family station, Love 101. It's gonna be alright.
Run to me cheese, run to me cheese, me yummy. Run to me cheese, run to me cheese, me yummy. Don't stop at just a one slice, please. No other bun, perfect for me, yummy. For real Jamaican flavor and quality for sure this Easter. Make yummy the run to your cheese. Yummy, give me yummy, yummy, give me yummy. For me Easter, yummy bunsita, yummy for me family, yummy for me sir. Run to me cheese, yummy. Run to me cheese, best bun, give me yummy.
Welcome back, and this is Family Time. It's brought to you by Family Life Ministries, and we provide counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Remember, you can tune into our program via the Love 101 Facebook page and their YouTube channel as well. The topic today is Reverend Mike, living with sickle cell. Our guest is Reverend Mike Aiken, and Michael is a transformational and purpose-driven leader. He's a minister of religion, a communication specialist, an educator, a counselor, a life coach, a sickle cell warrior, a husband, and a surrogate father to many. And I want us now to just kind of get a little bit of the light side of Reverend Mike. And to begin that, I want to ask him something that I find very interesting usually, and it's this. Which Bible character do you most identify with?
Perhaps, let's see now, most identified, maybe David.
David?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And why is that? Why would you identify with David?
Because like him, I desire to be a man after God's own heart. But boy, I find that life can trip you up easily, man. So you have to be so focused on that.
Yeah. It's
I
hard.
don't know if you understand the dichotomy there.
Yeah.
That David lived. And the Apostle Paul spoke about it, and he said, the things that I want to do, I don't do, and the things I should do. You know that verse in...
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yes. So, like David, I desire to be a man after God's own heart. To follow the word and way of my Creator.
Excellent. Now I'm gonna turn it 180
and that was a light
degrees.
question.
That was a light question, yes. I want to turn it 180 degrees. Which Bible character don't you identify with? A Bible character that you can't understand this character at all?
That's an easy one, man. Cain.
Yeah,
man. Can't understand that the boy all know.
No. Cain.
Think about it. Roland, you and I are approached by our Creator saying, hey, come give me something. and he gives us evidently instructions. So we go. And next thing I know, I'm dead.
Yeah.
You
They can't kill you.
yes, will you kill me for? I was not the one who refused your offering. You know, I can't understand that kind of bad mind. No,
It's
I
bad
would have
mind for real.
understood if the record of scripture said, and Cain found himself in a horrible quarrel with God, saying, God, why did you do this? I can understand. But you just go kill your brother, suffer nothing. He didn't do anything except God simply prospered him. And by the way, you know, we still have a lot of Cains surrounding us. So be very
Absolutely.
mindful of that, my brother. Be very careful. You
Absolutely.
don't do them nothing except God prospers you and they kick your foot away, especially in this Jamaica land we love. They hate you, they hurt you. Be mindful of them and pray for them.
Yes, sir. All right. Next question now. What is your favorite pastime?
Favorite pastime?
Yes. Favorite hobby?
Eating.
What do you like to do? Eating.
I'm just kidding. No, man. No, well, my favorite hobby, information gathering, if you can call it a hobby. I read, I watch stuff that gives information, particularly on areas that have to do with health, that have to do with God, that have to do with human development. Because one of the things I love to do is help people. We have vehicle that God uses, or vessel God uses to open the eyes of somebody's understanding. You know, I don't know if you ever get involved and you see the light that comes on in somebody's eyes when you share information with them that they did not have before, and then they take it another step and make it affect their behavior. You know, which is why I love working with young males, especially marginalized males, disadvantaged males, males that society has written off just because they had the misfortune of being found with an illegal gun or in an inappropriate situation. Now, I don't know if you can call it a hobby, but I salivate with research and getting information and reading and finding out credible things. So I know you're probably expected to hear golf, table tennis.
No, when it comes to you, I'm just listening. I'm not
Yes, I played
expecting.
those games, you know. I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
And by the way, for any sickle cell warrior and parent listening out there, would you believe my parents had 4 sons? I was the only one with sickle cell anemia and the only one to play the Costa Cup football for Titchfield, play table tennis for the community of Buff Bay, play volleyball for Titchfield, cricket. So the management of the disease got to that level where I was able to achieve what doctors said was unachievable. So mommy or daddy, don't give up hope. Just learn to manage the thing and you'll be surprised at how your child can behave like a normal human being.
Excellent, Rev. The next question here now is the worst thing about Jamaica in your mind. What's the worst thing?
Our values. We have got to throw away the current values that we have. This is not a religious statement. Values really and culture are the same thing. And our current culture will not take us to the prosperity that we seek. We have got to jettison some values that we hold dear, the Anansi values, I call them, and replace them with some values that we find in the Word of God. And we, as people of God, have really got to spearhead that, you know. So I wish I could wake up tomorrow and see a country with absolutely transformed values. Dishonesty should not be an important value anymore, but it is. Because if I get to trick you, all your friends in studio there laugh and say, boy, Ref, smarty man, him kick or roll on foot. Even though that's dishonest. You know, if I tell a lie and get around you, I feel good about it and all my friends laugh at you. You know, you're not as smart as Rev, but those are values that will destroy us. Because nobody likes doing business with a dishonest person or with a liar. And in fact, God takes it even higher when he says that lying is an abomination to him. But yet, we, his representatives, have, now let me say this carefully, and I hope you and your listeners don't get it twisted. We have made people more afraid of some sins that as far as God is concerned, and it's written in the Old Testament, or the person and work of Jesus Christ showed us, it may not be as important to God as we think. Okay? You would never probably get thrown out of that lovely, beautiful Christian Love FM studio for malice. But you'll get kicked out if them find out that you get a girl pregnant. But you get a free pass if you're malicious, vindictive, destructive, if you tear down your brother. 6 things God hates, even 7. Go read that verse and you realize we may be emphasizing the wrong things as people of God. And as a result, we have built a society or helped to structure a society that cannot get to the highest potential that God has designed it to get to. In case you don't know what the island of Jamaica is about, go read Isaiah 42, 10 and 12. This is the island I do believe in my spirit that God spoke of when he said the islands will know his law. They'll sing a new song. You know, if people of the kingdom of God don't make that switch to really begin to love the things that God loves and pass that on to persons who we have been commanded to reach, we're going to continue to be the way we are. And God forgive us. And I look forward to that national transformation sometime soon.
Wow, Rev, that was a lot. That was a lot. So tell me now, what is the best thing about Jamaica?
The best thing about Jamaica, man, this is such a beautiful place. In terms of, first of all, the how God threw everything together. Just take a trip to Portland, then head down to South Jamaica, North and West, and you realize that. Or have you ever been abroad and come back here? I remember going to, should I call it the name of the island down the road? And when I came back, I had to kiss the ground and say, Daddy, you really did a good job right here, man. I mean, we've got mountains and valleys. We've got seas and rivers. We've got all that there is for persons to, Jamaica didn't need Jesus Christ to know that there's a God.
Yeah.
Because we have so much of creation that we have got to look and go, whoa, whoever designed this is incredible. That is what I love about this place. It's just
whoever designed it.
Yeah, man.
Whoever designed it is incredible.
You know,
whoever designed it is incredible.
And then the resilience of our people.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.
Is the next thing.
Whoever designed it and the resilience of our people. Love that. Thank you so much. We are almost at the end, sir. So I'm going to say thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you quickly.
No, I should be saying thank you, my brother. Thank you.
No, 20 seconds, sir, just to give a word of encouragement to our sickle cell warriors out there. Just 20 seconds. Please go ahead.
I don't even need that. For all sickle cell warriors out there, or parents of sickle cell warriors, keep fighting, keep depending on God, keep doing the things that you need to do, the nutrition, the supplementation, the hydration, keeping warm, exercise timely. Do all that is your responsibility in the natural, and God will meet you in the supernatural. And you may find yourself as old as Roland or myself with sickle cell anemia at this age in life.
Amen. Thank you very much, Rev. Thank you so much. And I want to thank our listeners and our viewers for being here with us. If you have questions of a personal nature, or you're concerned about a friend or a family member, call us. For more information on all our services here at Family Life Ministries, you can contact our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island. Our head office number is 920-1034 or 926-8101. Note that for appointments and information on costs, you have to call the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening at FLM and to learn about our programs, check us out on our new Facebook page at FLM-Family Life Ministries and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries-FLMJA. And you can also get to us on Instagram at simply FLMJA. Before we leave you, here is this evening's Bible verse. It's from Deuteronomy chapter 31 and it's verse 6. It says, Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Join us again next week for another program, another fun program. Thanks again to our special guest, Reverend Michael Aiken. Thanks also to our show producer, Kathy Gale, and to our studio facilitator, Timoy Butler. And of course, you for joining us. We are so glad that you are here with us every week. I'm Roland. Blessings to you all. Have a good evening.